Okay, so this isn't new news, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. So the Washington Mystics are moving four of their games from the Care First Arena, formerly known as the Entertainment Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. They're moving the May 28th game, September 7th game. Both games are against Indiana Fever. They're moving it to the CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Then the July 8th game against Chicago Sky and the July 10th game against the Las Vegas Aces are being moved to EagleBank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia, which is on the campus of George Mason University. Now, the reason I'm talking about this because to me it's frustrating. Now, normally the Washington Mystics will play at Capital One Arena, where the Washington Wizards play. They'll normally play there when they want a bigger venue, because of CaitlinClark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, which is what they're doing now because they know they're going to bring out a bigger crowd. So unfortunately, Capital One Arena will be going through renovations during this time, probably for the next few summers, as they try to renovate and have a state of the art upgrade to the arena. So they had to find other venues to accommodate the games. Now, as someone that lives in Prince George's County, Maryland, pretty much down the street from Washington, D.C., I don't think a lot of people are definitely wanting to go to Baltimore, which is about a 45-minute to an hour drive to see the game. And two, Eagle Bank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia is also terrible traffic if you drive in there. If you drive into Virginia, definitely during rush hour traffic, even if it's a weekend game, it could be a little congested. Now you can take the metro. Now and it still may be close to an hour ride on the metro, depending on where you're coming from. But and you may still have to catch a shuttle or a bus once you get off the metro. Matter of fact, because I remember when they had a game at EagleBank Arena some years ago, I had to take the train to a stop. Then from there, had to catch a bus to get to the arena. So I say all of this to say there's so many different colleges in Washington D.C. area, in Washington D.C., the surrounding area, in Prince George's County, Maryland, Montgomery County, Maryland, or just venues that I would think could accommodate this game. Now, I honestly would be pissed, for one, if I'm a season ticket holder because I paid for specific seats, and especially if you got like floor seats or seats that's closer, the angle may be different. You may not be able to get the floor seats. Of course, they said they're going to try to accommodate, try to make the seats comparable to where you would be sitting at Care First Arena, which who knows? They'll do the best they can. But if I'm there, I have no intentions on driving up to Baltimore. Now, it's like you couldn't find nothing closer in DC. I just feel like once again, I don't know if they tried other arenas and the schedule didn't work out or what happened, but it just seemed odd, especially the Baltimore, Maryland, playing in Baltimore, Maryland at the CFG Bank Arena on May 28th, September 7th. Now, what's odd to me is that why why do you have that game at the Indiana Fever against the Indiana Fever in Baltimore, Maryland? That doesn't make sense to me at all. Can somebody explain this to me? Now, Angel Reese is from Baltimore, and she's one of the reasons that you're moving to a bigger venue. So why aren't you playing that game in Baltimore against the Chicago Sky instead of playing in Fairfax, Virginia? Can somebody make that make sense to me? I feel like a lot of people not probably already want to go to Baltimore, despite even if it's CaitlinClark, and just having a game for the hometown, player that a lot of people like or don't like, but that would bring more fans out to me having the Chicago Sky July 8th game at CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Like stuff like that to me just boggles my mind. Like doesn't make sense. Now, as far as July 8th, I looked at the schedules for CFG Bank Arena and they didn't have an event on that day. They do have an event the following day. So I don't know if that was an issue where they feel like they might not have been able to swap out the court for whatever they're doing the next day. I believe it may be a concert. I don't know. I've seen it done many a times at Capital One Arena, but different arenas are different. I don't know the staffing, if they can do it or not. To me, I just don't know. But I know I'm not going. I know I'm not driving almost an hour to Baltimore, and I'm gonna be honest. Um, CFG Bank Arena is not in the best area, and on top of that, even where the Mystics play is not in the best area. So now you want me to drive almost an hour to go to another bad area that I'm not as familiar with as the bad area that I'm used to going to, if that makes sense. Ultimately, I don't think there'll be, any issues, no matter where you're at, all you can do is just pray and, stay safe. Not saying it's super bad where you can't be out there, but my point is going through all this traffic for a Mystics game when they're in Washington, it doesn't make sense. Honestly, I really think the real reason is because they're trying to get more fans in those areas. They're trying to get more fans in Baltimore and they're trying to get more fans in Virginia. Most of the time, even to this day, even though the WNBA been around for 25 plus years or whatnot, a lot of people still don't even, either they don't know about it or they don't even know, they can't even name like 3 teams in the league because still a lot of people that don't watch it, even though it has grown over the past few years tremendously to me. But that's what I'm feeling. I don't know how it will work. I just read a lot of comments on social media, particularly from season ticket holders that are really annoyed by these changes, and I would feel the exact same way. And 4 games to me is significant. I know the season is about, I think it's going to be 40 games. I'm not as sure. Don't quote me on it. But I would be pissed too. And a lot of people obviously want to see CaitlinClark, and you're gonna make these people go to Baltimore for that. Some people want to see Asia Wilson and Angel Reese, and not just them. I know I'm naming the superstars, but all the players. People just interested in the games overall. It's just a major inconvenience. I'm happy for the people that's in Baltimore or in Fairfax, Virginia area that will get a chance to watch that that they normally won't because they can't make it out to DC. So I see it. So I'm looking at this as a Washington Mystics fan that actually live in the DC area. For me, I'm not going to, wouldn't be going to these games because of this. It's just crazy. The main thing for me is, like I said, why isn't the Angel Reese July 8th game in Baltimore? That's my main question. Like, whatever y'all got going on, y'all contracted with these arenas, and for whatever reason, however y'all came up with the dates at each specific arena, I don't know how, unless something logistics, that Angel Reese wouldn't be playing in Baltimore. And to me, I feel like that was another way of dropping the ball when they didn't draft Angel Reese. Just my opinion. And I think Aaliyah Edwards, which is who we did draft with the pick, I think she's going to be a great player. And I like what I saw from her in playing at Unrivaled. So I anticipate her having a great sophomore, even better season this time. But I was thinking when Reese was still on the board that it just made sense to pick her, and I just thought she was more ready in her rookie season to contribute to the team that we have. And the reasoning that I heard from management about not selecting Reese, to me it didn't make sense. Honestly, to each his own. I believe they were still concerned about the bad publicity, I guess you can call it, that she was getting from, the whole "you can't see me" thing, the whole supposed rivalry with CaitlinClark. I think they didn't. I don't think they wanted that attention. To be honest, that is my opinion. I don't think they wanted the attention. I think they mentioned they wanted like some outside shooting, and yes, Aaliyah Edwards does have more of an outside game. She can make the 10-foot jump shot, and also she can play inside. So maybe it's true. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. but anyway, so if y'all go to any of those games and you're not from the area, be prepared to, one, leave out on time, extra time to allow for parking, first of all. Also, depending on which game you go to, if it's an evening game or weekend, definitely during the rush hour traffic, be prepared for that. You don't want to miss the whole game being in traffic. But anyway, let's just hope we look forward to this draft and see what we do. And I'll definitely be back talking about that. I appreciate y'all listening. Everyone, if you on wherever you at in the world, y'all have a great rest of your day. I appreciate y'all. Take care and enjoy the game. If you go, enjoy whichever game you go to. Be safe, and we'll talk again.